Hey everyone, Shannon here again to recap with you another week of Big Brother Canada Season 3. If you missed my video for last week or any of my other ones, I will link last week's down below, as well as my initial first impression cast for you is there as well. I do this every week, so. Anyways, so this week we saw the power shift once again to the other side of the house, as in basically the Brittany, Sarah, Johnny side versus kind of the chop shop and then the kind of the people in the middle. So Bruno won HOH and he nominated both Johnny and Sarah for eviction, which I thought was interesting since Brittany was the one who actually got rid of Bruno's ally Greg, and he instead went after her two allies instead of going after her. So that was good for Brittany's game. Well, good-ish for Brittany's game. Bad that she's losing an ally, but good that, you know, she managed to kind of stay off the block and everything for her own individual, personal game. And then Bruno also won the POV. Now there was a bit of kind of controversy, confusion, whatever you want to call it, with the POV, which kind of bummed me out too because from what we heard on the show, it had seemed like there was a forced veto, which was be forced to use on one person no matter what, and then there was a double veto, which would veto both the nominations. But it was actually, which made it seem like it was also kind of a forced deal where both nominees had to come off. So that is why most of Canada voted for the double, so that, you know, both the nominees would come off and everything. This would have been okay kind of if, like, say Brittany won, then she probably would have used it and taken them both off, or, you know, Johnny or Sarah won, they would have taken each other off, whatever. So it wouldn't have mattered, it would have ended up kind of being what Canada had wanted anyways, but Bruno ended up winning, so what ended up being true was that it was just the option of vetoing both of them, not the sort of implying that they had to be taken off. So that twist kind of ended up sucking, to be honest. A little bit less anticlimactic, obviously, and dramatic than obviously we had all hoped. So that was a bit of a bummer and everything. So ultimately Johnny did end up getting evicted, and then this made him the last five of the first five to be evicted, which means that he was the last person to be included in the returnee competition that the results will be shown on Sunday night's episode. I'm filming this right now on Saturday night, so tomorrow I will be talking a little bit spoilers and stuff, so if you just watch the live show, if you just watch the shows on TV and don't want to know anything about the live feed stuff or whatever, then I'll let you know so you can tune out at that point. So yeah, Bruno did obviously a good thing for his game, getting Johnny out. Johnny was a great social player. He's also really strategic. He was a really big super fan, so he knew a lot about the game and everything, and he campaigned so hard, like the hardest I've ever seen, and people just wouldn't, and it ultimately didn't work. And so I felt really bad for him because he tried, like, you know, everything he could. I really loved Sarah though, so I was happy that she stayed. I think Sarah's also a really good player. She's just a bit emotional, and I feel like if I were in there, I'd probably be the same way, just because I am an emotional person generally in real life. So it'd be something that if I ever did go on the show that I know I'd have to keep in check, so I can completely empathize and sympathize with Sarah and understand her perspective with all of that. So yeah, I'm gonna now get into stuff that was on the live feed. So if you don't watch live feeds, you just watch the show, don't want to know, then feel free to exit now. So the first five that were evicted were Risha, Cindy, Neha, Greg, and Johnny. So they were all competing in, I believe I heard it was like an endurance style competition, and it lasted around an hour. I heard someone had posted on Twitter. I'm not exactly sure since I didn't hear that part on the feeds directly. But anyways, the winner of that competition was Cindy, and before she came back in the house. The house guests saw on the TV a visual of them all 5 of them competing, and then they realized that one of them was likely coming back. So they made this pact that they would just, put up whoever came back, put them on the block, and just evict them out right away. But then they're speculating that they probably would get immunity for the week, because that would be the point of bringing them back in if they weren't, at least safe for the rest of that week. So they're just saying that they'd put them up if they could. And they were indeed right. Cindy does have immunity for this week since she wasn't there to participate in the HOH competition. She cannot be put up as a replacement nominee and be voted out this week, which is really good. Because that would really suck to just, fight your way into a competition, get back in, only to have the head of household put you up on the block and then backdoor you out. No. No. That would just be terrible. Unless, they end up winning POV, but if they'd still got to participate in POV, whatever, I don't know. But, yeah, it would just basically suck to just, get back in and then go right back out, a revolving door sort of scenario. So I have a little bit mixed feelings about Cindy. I like that she's really good at competition, so it didn't surprise me that she won. I was hoping it would either be her or Neha, or even Johnny, I'd be fine with. So I was glad that she would hopefully be someone for the Sarah side of the house, because I really like Sarah. So anyone that can kind of be a number for her and help her. And as long as Cindy can kind of keep her with an S annoying sort of tendencies in check and everything, I think she could be okay if she, makes those relationships and forms those interactions and kind of has those bonds during her week of immunity, takes advantage of that. Then I feel like she could potentially do well, even last longer, and then hopefully this week, hopefully that's not all, in vain, because it's not really often that one gets a second chance in Big Brother, so that's a really amazing opportunity. I hope that she takes full advantage of that and everything, and hopefully, if nothing if nothing less, I don't know, but hopefully at least, even if she does go out next week, at least we get some good drama, alliances exposed, things like that, some good TV out of it. So that it won't be, all for naught. So yes. So our HOH this current week is Zach. So yeah, I guess the whole throwing challenges thing is kind of done now. And I heard that their original plan was to ultimately backdoor Bruno. So his original nominations were both Jordan and Godfrey. Apparently Jordan agreed to go up as a pawn in that scenario so that he could be taken down so that they could put up Bruno. And I believe it was, unless Bruno won POV, then they'd put up Bobby, I believe. So, which I thought was really cool. I was really on board with. I was really, happy for Zach to be going after Bruno, since he is a really good strategic player, and it would be a really smart move for him. But, for his alliance, really. Maybe not for Zach's individual game. Which I think is what Zach realized, since now, with everything that happened, it was like, okay, put up the returning nominee, can't put up the returning nominee, and Zach also won the power veto. So, and then now he was telling Jordan that he doesn't want to put up Bruno because, he's kind of in alliance with them. It's the whole chop shop thing. He's like, no, I don't want to get rid of him, which is probably better for Zach's game, but it's not better for Jordan's game. So this really upset Jordan. So Jordan actually ended up telling Kevin about the Newport Alliance and coming clean about all that, which is so interesting. It's so exciting. I can't wait to see how kind of that all plays out. I watched little bits of it and read a ton about it, but I want to see kind of how the show ends up editing it and everything and showing that kind of fall apart, because I really like Kevin and I felt so terrible for him, so I want to see how he actually reacts. He's reacting on the feeds fine, but as we all know, Kevin's a professional poker player, so it could just be him hiding his emotions. I don't know if he's actually really hurt by it or actually does understand and is okay with it and just is happy that Jordan, came clean about it, or if he just wants to now get Jordan out because of it. Like, I need to know what the real thing is, because you don't necessarily know what the real stuff is until you see those diagrams, which are obviously only in the edited show. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing all of that. So now Zach just wants, Godfrey to go out instead, which, I'm fine with. Godfrey is pretty much a non-factor in my world. He is kind of playing how he wanted. He said he wanted to play dumb and under the radar, but he's pretty much just like, I don't know, he just bothers me. I really don't know what it is, but I just, like, and then when he's in his DRs acting like, see, I'm so smart, blah, 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 I just get really annoyed with him. And I mean, for the annoying factor, I'd want him gone, but I mean, I don't think he's gonna win anyway, so there's not really a point. But we'll see how that goes. It'd be kind of interesting if maybe the House realizes about Jordan and they get Jordan out instead, if the nominations stay the same. I don't really know why he rubs me wrong either. I mean, he's my favorite player on paper. Like, he's really good. But we shall see. We shall see. So yeah, and then there was just one other thing that I then wanted to talk about, which was on the sideshow. I felt it was kind of funny that, the five of them were all getting advice from both, the first 5 people evicted were getting advice from Gary and Peter about what to do with their second chance and everything and stuff like that. And Risha gets into this explosive argument with Peter, saying that, like, could she have done differently? Like, she was just nominated right away, blah, blah, blah. Like, it wasn't her fault. Well, clearly, you did something that rubbed people the wrong way. So something was wrong with your social game. Something didn't click right with people. So it's obviously something that you need to change. If you got evicted soon, clearly something was done wrong. Either, some people play too hard, have really strong personalities. Some people just don't get along with other people, which was kind of her case, and didn't form those connections. So kind of all Peter was saying was that you need to kind of evaluate what you did in the game that was wrong and then do it differently so that you don't repeat those same mistakes again. But Risha was felt like all personally attacked for some reason about that. I know Peter can kind of say things in a harsh way, but his points are really valid. I know I'm a big Peter fan, so I might be a little biased in that regard. But anyone that, gets evicted from the game obviously did something wrong if they, ultimately ended up being the one to get evicted, whether it's not winning a competition or not making connections with people or anything in that regard. There's always reason for it, and for you to get a second chance to fix those mistakes is a rare opportunity, and Risha wasn't grasping that. So, I mean, it's a non-factor now since she didn't win the competition and isn't back anyways, but I was just really bothered by that argument and people getting so offended by him saying that when it's, technically the truth. So yeah, I will be back again next week. Hopefully I will be on Rob Has a Podcast again soon. I was on it twice. I can link both those down below as well if you haven't seen them. It was really fun, and I hopefully will get to go on again. That'd be amazing. It was I just really enjoy it. It's great talking with Rob and talking with the other podcasters, and it was great when the one day I got to talk with Aika, former contestant on season 2 of Big Brother Canada. So yeah, and then I will be obviously back with a video again for next week after all this craziness of someone coming back in, someone getting evicted, what, Zach ends up deciding, what happens to the whole Newport Alliance, what happens with the Fortress Alliance and the Bermuda Triangle, there's so many different alliances, my goodness. Kind of recap all that and all the craziness of this week. So I will see you all again next week.